All right, so today I want to talk about this story out of the Globe and Mail, and it's titled CN to lay off 1,600 employees amid weakening economy, trade tensions. And the other thing I was going to mention is that Via Rail, I think, is going to lay off like 1,000. Don't quote me on the exact number, because of the pipeline or the rail and or pipeline protests that are currently going on. Um, the one in Alberta was quickly shut down. I think it was thanks to a guy by the name of Guy Simpson, and others that brought his truck and took all the stuff and got rid of it. And that's how this kind of stuff needs to be handled. So good on the Guy Simpson and the people that came out to shut down this crap, because shutting down a rail line, I didn't know this. I mean, I kind of assumed that it wasn't perfectly legal, but I didn't know it up until yesterday that it is, in fact, illegal to do that. It is even technically illegal to walk across a rail line, if you're not at a marked crossing. So, again, these people are doing something that's clearly illegal, but yet no one seems to care, at least people on the left. And like I say, this is something that really bothers me because it just I mean, not that we didn't know it already, but it exposes the further two-sidedness, double standard, different sets of rules for different sets of people depending on who you are in society. And yet you have Justin Trudeau who come out and has the gall to say, oh, we're a country of laws and those laws will be followed. um, Law and order, all this crap, but yet we're not following it in any way, shape. We're following it if it was the other way. If it was pro pipeline protesters that were shutting down anything for any reason, they would be quickly shut down, and that would be that. And yet, when it's the other way around, it doesn't happen. When people are literally breaking the law, by definition, they're not arrested. Something that really bothers me as someone who doesn't advocate for much of a government whatsoever. People always point out, oh well, your taxes go towards paying for roads and all this kind of stuff, but yet. Yeah, you know what? You don't actually get to use those roads anymore now because there's some people throwing hissy fits that the people that they claim to be advocating for don't even agree with them on that. The Wet'suwet'en tribe wants the pipeline, and yet you have these people who claim to be advocating for them that you somehow know better. And the reason they want it is very simple. They get a lot of money and they get jobs. Like if someone came to you and said, "Yeah, we're gonna," or you and this big group of people said, "Yeah, we're gonna pay you to do this thing, and we're gonna give people who want jobs." Why would you not want it? It makes no sense. So that's kind of the whole thing with that. But I wanted to make a video about this because Canada is in for some trouble, and like things are getting pretty hectic. Like I say, I do commend the people in Alberta. I mean, I'm from very close to that area, but for resolving it peacefully and resolving it basically. And I think it's a little different in that Alberta, the overwhelming majority of the public agrees with the or I know would agree with the guy that shut it down. They want the pipelines. Um, so that's kind of I think why that went off without a hitch. But this is kind of where we're at in Canada. That's it really bothers me, and it's stuff that it needs to be talked about. And you have the CBC and basically all the mainstream media just flat out lying to people. They have no I mean they're misleading people. It's not that they're ignorant or they don't know what they're talking about. They're just flat out misleading people, and it's very sad, and it's very like I say, yeah, very sad that's where we're at in Canada, and like Justin Trudeau capping it off with the whole we're a country of laws and rule of law and law and order, and yet you're allowing people to throw hissy fits to get their political stunt across when their political stunt doesn't even the people that they claim that their political stunt is with and agreeing with doesn't agree with them. It's crazy. And the other thing I wanted to bring up too is the whole Justin Trudeau thing with Andrew Scheer, that Justin Trudeau will go over to the Middle East and have perfectly good associations with leaders of countries that have extremely questionable human rights records, just to say the least. But yet Andrew Scheer wants to open up more discord on the topic of these kind of things, and yet Justin Trudeau won't have it. And that's just where we're at. That people that run the most corrupt, the countries with the most humans rights questions possible. Justin Trudeau is perfectly fine dealing with them. He'll deal with them just fine. But the leader of the opposition, they got more votes than you did, even though the media is completely biased against them. We can't have that, and that's where we're at in Canada. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, before anyone points out, oh, you're just a conservative partisan. I didn't vote for Scheer. I very much disliked Scheer, and that's saying a lot considering just how bad the Liberals are. Usually conservatives will be just good enough to support him, considering how bad the typical leftist party is nowadays, whether it's the NDP provincially or the Liberals federally. Scheer was too off the deep end. I mean, not wanting to scrap the carbon tax, not wanting to cut immigration. I mean, those are non sequiturs if you can't even deal with that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. But anyway, I wanted to make a video about this because this kind of stuff just keeps ramping up, and my guess is that it's going to die down because I don't think it could be much more in the news and in the layman as it's been. But it's going to keep going on, and Canada is like Canada is like I don't like I say it literally has me speechless that this is where we're at. And I think the reason why the left is doing this kind of stuff, as always, is that the left can do pretty much anything. Like, if the economy's good, the left will be, oh, the economy's great because of us. Like in the States, when Trump got elected, it was, oh, the economy's going to crash, there's going to be war and, recession. And now that the economy's doing good, all the people, Obama's all over Twitter talking about how great the economy is because of him. Well, I mean, wait, I thought the economy was going to crash. And on the other hand, too, they'll have people tell you, oh, the economy really isn't that good. But here you have Obama talking about how good it is. Like, which one is it? So that's what we have in Canada too with the left, is that if the economy's terrible, oh, it's because of the conservatives. They're not letting us get through what we want to get through. And if the economy's good, well, then it's because of them. And in Alberta, the left generally accuses the right of the same thing, but I think looking at it with an honest and an open objective, the left tends to put so much, like, the right's way of growing the economy is through the free market. When you have massive amounts of regulations, that makes that pretty much impossible. Now, to be fair, I guess in the way that the left wants to grow the economy, the right does block it. But the way that the left wants to grow the economy is through massive amounts of debt, and like the NDP did in Alberta. They went into 90, no, not 90 trillion. I think it's about 90 billion in debt, and they created about 10,000 jobs. Now, are you really literally telling me that that much debt is worth 10,000 jobs? Like, that's like millions and millions of dollars a job. Like, how does that make any sense? When you have the free market, all you got to do is sign a bill cutting, the carbon tax and, a handful of regulations, and you create 10,000 jobs right there. It costs you nothing. It costs you the cost of however long it took you to cut the bills or to get rid of the bills. And like I say too, before people accuse me of being biased and that kind of thing, the left's way of blocking the right is to create so much regulation that it makes it almost impossible for the free market to work. And that's what they're doing. That's what the left is trying to do in Alberta. And I mean, that's what they did in Alberta when the NDP was elected. And the right, like I say, the right creates policies to where it's so much more beneficial to be in the free market, that the left's view of unions and government jobs, it doesn't make it makes that harder. So the left is technically right when the right says that they try to block them getting through what they want to get through, but what they don't tell you is that their way of doing it is worse, and in the end, um, basically. So that's a bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to bring that up. But basically, to sum it up, um, good on the guy that shut that thing down. And I don't think it was just him. He was just the one that had the truck that loaded up all the stuff. I don't know how involved he actually was. I know there was other people involved. And like I say too, blocking train tracks is illegal. Why is it controversial to remove people that are blocking train tracks? It makes no sense. So, and again, if you're going to have Trudeau up there saying a rule of law, law and order, okay, well, enforce the law. It's not complicated. But they're not doing that because they're biased, and when you're on the left, you fundamentally believe in different sets of rules for different people in society, and not only do you believe in it, you think it's a good thing. You think that it's morally good and ethically good that that's the way that things are. So anyway, I think I've talked enough about this video. I could talk for